Good evening, world. I hope that you had a wonderful day. I'm sitting here with my buddy Scrappy, and we hanging out a little bit today. So he can say, "Hey, Scrappy, say hi." I have two of them. Say hey, Scrappy and Patches, my buddies. But on a serious note, as I said last night when I made the video, I don't speak on things that I don't know about. Sorry about that. But I just watched a video a few minutes ago that stated that for some reason I'm fixated with Kanye for some reason, and it's only because I think that he's like resonating in my spirit for some of the things that I personally am going through myself. And I absolutely love one of the internet personalities, MJ Harris. He is born on the very same day as me, February the 28th. And he's phenomenal. He has a lot of things going on. He's diversified. I absolutely love that. But I'm kind of torn between one of the things that I heard him say the other day as it pertains to Kanye and Kim. He kind of stated to the fact that he needs to, basically protect the kids from him and preserve her brand. So basically she needs to kick him to the curb and let him go. The problem that I have with that is because clearly I've lived a little bit longer than he has, and I'm not so sure that I agree with that, because sometimes, for one, you got to be careful, about the message that you send out, because it's not only people within your age range that happens to be listening to you. Sometimes it's older people, sometimes it's younger people. So the information that he provided is not necessarily applicable to a older person. So you have to be mindful with that type of information when you put it out. So his stance was to preserve your brand. Okay, I relate. However, if you happen to have a lady or a man who gets with someone before they have anything, and situations and circumstances present themselves within that relationship that causes the other person to go awry for whatever reason, I don't necessarily agree that you should just kick them to the curb because you try to preserve your brand. Because there's a lot of times when it is either that man or that female that help that person to have their brand. In the Kardashian situation, Kim became popular because there was sex tapes leaked of her and Ray J. So at that point, we all became familiar with who she was. Is that the best light to be seen in? Probably not. But nonetheless, it was. I haven't done my research in the sense to know the timeline as far as when Kanye created his first record and album, CD, whatever we call it, during that time, to know how we came to know him. However, we knew him, so a lot of people were perplexed with the fact that he got with her in the first place. So he got with her at a time that she wasn't necessarily seen in the best light. And she was somewhat popular for family affiliations. And again, I'm not saying anything negative. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other, but at the end of the day, the bottom line of it is you have to weigh all of the particulars of a situation before you form judgment. That's one of the reasons why God basically kind of deems us not to do that. That's not our job to judge. And when you do make judgments, you have to have all the facts. You have to look at the big picture. Because if you have in all puzzles, there are millions of pieces or thousands or hundreds or whatever the case may be. There are other factors that go into the reasoning behind something. So like now people are like, oh yeah, kick him to the curb. He's crazy. He's this, he's that, or whatever. And he very well is definitely going through a mental situation. However, it could have been his strength that helped her to catapult to where she is right now. So is that really fair to look at him as the downfall, the negative individual? So now we're gonna cast him to the wolves because we got to worry about her brand. Have we not seen this week with Nick Cannon worrying about his brand? In the blink of an eye, his brand was over with 2 words. We're living in a different day and a different time. We probably should change the way that we see things. We probably should change the way that we move. We probably should change the way that we do things because we are not as important as we think we are. So just because someone has a brand today does not mean that brand is going to be relevant tomorrow. So that's the one thing that MJ Harris and I differ on, because I just don't think that that's something that you want to put out to people, especially when you're dealing with a diverse audience. If you have not lived long enough, in my case, I have been married. I started out where we had absolutely nothing. I helped to build the things that we have. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm looked upon as if I've done nothing. So I feel some type of way because I walk that walk. But I'm okay with allowing the people that need to feel like they need to shine to shine. I don't feel like I need to. I shine with them. I shine in my own circle. I don't have to go out of the way to dim anyone else's light. I don't have to go out of my way to make anyone feel less than. I don't have to discredit anyone to walk in my truth. The times that I have, or so if it appeared that I did it because of being in a defense mode or feeling retaliation, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what it was. But again, I'm not going to digress. I just feel that we, especially in the world that we live in the blink of an eye, things can change. I have actually seen people when I was going through the worst time of my life, and that actually began, as I talked about yesterday. It was different things sprinkled throughout, probably since the year of 2000, moving all the way up to when it was finally over, as far as my marriage was concerned, on February the 25th of 2013. But a lot of things happened all the way up until that point, which nobody takes into consideration as to why someone would move the way that they do. But they would stand in judgment of the choices and actions or reactions. But what I have seen since I have begun to move towards overcoming some of those obstacles, I've seen some of the very same people that walked in judgment, had comments, remarks, told me what they would never deal with, what they couldn't deal with, what they don't like, what they wouldn't do. All those things, I've seen God change things around for them to realize that those are things that you got to be careful what you speak out your mouth, because of the very same things that you say that you won't do, God will show you that you will do. And so it's crazy because for me, as we're going through this crisis where a lot of people are suffering mental health issues, and they are valid. People have every reason to feel the way that they do. Again, as I said last night, we social distance. We can't talk to people. You can't go by anyone. If someone coughs or sneezes, you want to get away from me. You don't want people coming to your home. You don't touch your face. You got to wash your hair 55 times. It's just a lot of different things that we got to do now. Things that we never even thought that we would come to see that day pass. It's come to pass. But yet we still are judgmental, combative, not understanding, just a whole lot of things that's really, really not necessary. I really don't understand it. And sometimes I'm like, I have outlived my usefulness because I don't get a lot of things. I really don't. It doesn't make sense to me how you can sit and say what you would not do, what and critique someone else when you have not had that walk. Shouldn't you drop to your knees and say, God, thank you for not allowing me to have felt that way? God, thank you for not allowing me to know what they're going through. And God, please continue to sustain me so that I don't know what they're going through, so I don't feel what they feel. But unfortunately, most people ride on a high horse and think that because they're having a good day, it's going to stay good. It's not going to. The book of Ecclesiastics will explain to you that there's nothing new under the sun. There's reasons for everything. It is what it is. It doesn't use those words, but at the end of the day, it's in there. It's in the Bible. It lets you know. So there's no reason why somebody should ride on their high horse. So right now, a lot of people are going through issues where they are about to be homeless. And I understand well, let's just say this. I've never been homeless, but I do understand what the thought of, well, no, I can't even say that because I never feared that in any way. I really didn't. Had my thought process been differently, maybe I would have. But to know, like, I was listening to the news today, and to know that the $600 stimulus thing is about to run out because it's about to be the end of the month. So they're not going to get that. The housing thing is about to be canceled so that people can get evicted and they can put you out your house and all that kind of stuff. I understand what that could feel like, because one of the things that, I was married for like a long time, and it took me a minute to move out of our actually family home, for a couple reasons, not necessarily for me, but I also had my baby girl, and I was trying to maintain the family home as much as I could. And please understand, I'm not mad at Mr. anymore, because everything happened exactly the way it was, and I would not have had it any other way. I appreciate everything for the way that it happened, because if it didn't happen the way that it happened, I would not be able to move forward as I have. But as I said last night, he had a whole lot of people in his ear. So I got, when I was taken to court, and he served me with papers and said that if I didn't leave in a certain day, he was going to serve me with eviction papers and things of that nature. A lot of people probably could have felt apprehensive, nervous, or whatever. I never had. For one, I have faith in my own value and my own abilities. So, but for me, it just kind of showed me a few things, because I'm a firm believer on Maya Angelou's words, and there's some people that know me by that, is that when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. You don't need the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. You don't need those times. People identify who they are. So for me, I already knew who the person was. I hate the fact that my daughter had to see that, because it has skewed her view of how life is. Because not only did the choices affect me, it affected her as well. But once she became 18, she became irrelevant in a sense. So things happen. So she too has her issues from time to time, with some mental issues that run up on her, and clearly, like it has been shown, nobody cares, because neither she nor I write checks for anybody. We don't, and even if we could, we wouldn't. Because that's really not who we are. But it's crazy for the life that we live in today, or the world that we live in today, and to watch people, how they move, and all I can really say to the people, you really, 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 really should not toy with God's anointed. Because when you do, you don't know what the purpose. Everyone on earth has a purpose. Sometimes they don't know what that purpose is. But when you intervene in the middle of God's purpose, and then you kind of look and figure out why things don't necessarily work out for you the way that they should, it's because you are moving in ways in God's purpose that you're not supposed to. Like for me, I know that I learned when I was going to college that when things are for you, they are effortless. Because I literally went through 5 years of college. And like I said, I don't remember a lot of stuff that I went through. I didn't at the time. but it's kind of coming to me now because my mind is getting clear and I'm kind of moving and working and utilizing some of the things that I learned. But when things are meant for you, you literally move through them with ease. But there's some things in my life that was a struggle. And it was a struggle because it wasn't for me. I was going against the grain. So when I went against the grain, of course it was difficult. So just in the course of what we're living through now, I said it last night and I'll say it again. We all have struggles. We all are unsure from day to day about how we're going to make it through. But the bottom line is you cannot worry about what other people think about you. You cannot move according to the way other people think you should. I would recommend, I honestly do recommend talking to God about everything and be open to hearing what he says, because once I have learned to spend time by myself and listen to ask him for guidance, but you have to be open to his answers. And I know they're not always easy, but for a long time I cut that off because I know that once I listened to what God had to say, then at the same time I became accountable, and I didn't want to be accountable because I still wanted to do wrong things. But once you make up in your mind you don't want to do wrong things anymore, and you ask God for his mercy and forgiveness, it's a certain way you have to move. So in these days, and I don't want to continue talking and go on for hours and hours and hours, so I'm going to cut this short at this point. But just know that we are all fighting some type of battle. Every day ain't sunny for us, just even though it may seem like it is. Even when we're smiling and laughing in your face and going along with the day-to-day routine, a lot of us are struggling. A lot of us don't want to wake up the next day. A lot of us are upset that we do. So if you're not willing to listen and be there for that person, just remain silent. You don't have to speak on everything. Everything does not require your 2 cents. Because your 2 cents is worth exactly what it is, 2 cents. So put that in your pocket and wait till you have 3 more, and at least you'll have a nickel. Truthfully. So anyway, I just wanted to say we are all fighting a battle bigger than ourselves. Stop walking in judgment of other people and thank God that you don't have the same battles that they do. Talk to you later.